Okay, so here is another show and tell for the little override box that I've been working on. It's kind of evolved into this little handheld device, I guess, and I think that's mainly just because it's nice to be able to hold it in your hand and walk over to the machine and be able to adjust these settings as you're starting up the program or whatever. So anyways, a little bit into the box. There is 3 dials, A, B, and C, and then they also have push down buttons on them. So anytime you press down, it will do a certain function, like the defaults are start, feed, hold, and stop. So the other thing, the dials work, it's feed, RPM, max velocity. I have it set up right now, so it is feed, RPM, max velocity, just like how it is on the display. But one thing is that you can reprogram it, and I'll walk through that real quick. What I've done is I've just printed out a piece of paper that kind of has a little cheat sheet of the numbers, and I'll show you how you do it. What you do is you have to hold on to the button for 3 seconds that you want to program. So if I wanted to reprogram A here, I will, let's see, we'll change A to, so it's controls the max velocity slider. Right now it controls the feed slider. So I'll hold it. You're going to see that jog is going to ramp all the way up to 100% and back down to 50%. So now the machine is waiting for the input for that, and whatever you adjust the jog to is what the max velocity, or whatever the code that will output to. So max velocity on this A setting is 56, so I'm going to hit it again. There's 100. Now it's going to reset, and now my top button is adjusting max velocity. So I guess now I have 2 buttons doing max velocity. Something that I guess I'm used to having my feed at the top so far, so I'll just go ahead and set it back. There's the jog override sliding back up, and then feed is 52, just like that. And then now my feed becomes the top button again. Another thing that some people might want to do is maybe coolant. I was even playing with having the coolant down here on this button. So if I wanted to program coolant, I can go to 42 on this lower button, and now it'll program the standard coolant on and off button. So yeah, I'm still thinking about putting in some more different buttons. Not sure what else I'm going to throw in there yet, but right now I just have these, which I think covers most of the buttons I use a lot. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at. A couple other things you might see, added a little handle to it. That's nice, so I can hang it up. This cable, not a big fan of it. It's going to change to a standard black cable. And then also I have some overlays being made up for the top here. This is kind of just a prototype box I've been using to program everything. So one of the things is on the feed and the max velocity, I have it so it goes down into a fine-tune mode. When you get below 20%, it'll switch into 1% increments, and that just allows you to have a little bit more control at those lower ranges, especially for when you're starting up a program and the machine's starting to go down into the part. You can have a little bit more control and slow it down. It's really important, especially on max velocity, because 1% on max velocity could be a lot in the program. So yeah, so that's I guess here's the max velocity right here, switching down to 1% increments, and then as we get to 20, then it'll go up to 5%. And usually by that time you know what's going on in the program, and you're pretty sure that things are safe or you've touched off correctly and all that. Okay, we got all that out of the way. I'm going to show you real quick on, I guess, how I use it. Right now, I just kind of have just a face mill program, and again, the defaults are still start, feed, hold, stop, and then also the dials are still doing max velocity, RPM, and feed. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and start the program, and I can just feed hold it if I don't, if I see something that I don't like, start it back up, and then there it is, feed holding again. Now you do have RPM control, so you can adjust the RPM all the way down to 0 and then back up to 100%. The max velocity is right here, so sometimes when I'm starting off, I'll even start off into 0 just to get the program going, and then slowly dial it in, so you can see how the machine's slowly getting in there. And then there it is as I turned max velocity all the way down to 0. And then if I wanted to do feed adjustment or something like that, I didn't like how it was feeding in, I could just do that real quick and then turn back max velocity back up. Or change RPM in the fly. And I'll just pause it, and then if I wanted to stop the program for whatever reason, I can stop it right there. So yeah.